Fast food workers of Reddit, what is your most hated menu item? Panda Express, grilled teriyaki chicken. Not that it's bad regularly, but a new batch of teriyaki chicken takes almost 20 minutes to finish, whereas orange chicken takes 5-8 minutes to finish. Most days we depend on predicting how many customers are going to order it in the next 20 minutes. So when a huge crowd comes in that only wants teriyaki chicken, it can effectively shut us down. Every DQ employee hates when someone orders the fried shrimp because it smells like a graveyard during low tide. Former Colston employee here, anything with chocolate ice cream, because for some reason, only that flavor would freeze into a rock. Anything else, cake batter, vanilla, etc., would freeze to a normal ice cream consistency and would be easy to scoop and mix. Working with chocolate ice cream was like breaking apart a brick. The banana split blizzard at DQ. Almost all of the ingredients are liquids, so the thing is pure soup once you blend it. Had someone send it back once because it was so liquidy. When she tried to send the second back, the manager intervened. It's just not possible to make it thick. I work at a small pizza franchise. Taco salads are a nightmare. Why anyone would order a taco salad from a pizza restaurant and expect it to be as good as the Mexican place down the street is baffling to me. Former Papa Murphy's employee here. My managers were generally pretty anal about portion sizes, so anything with pepperoni required a lot of counting. Pretty much every other topping could be doled out quickly with measuring cups, but when you order a large cowboy, those 35 pepperoni have to be counted individually. If you order a family-size pepperoni pizza, just start counting to 80, because that's the bare minimum amount of time it will take to make your order. I used to be a server at Steak and Shake. When I had a 7x7, 7 patties and 7 slices of cheese, I would always call it back. It takes up a good portion of the grill, so in the middle of a rush it really freaking sucks for the cooks. Haven't worked it in a long time, but when I worked at MCD's, it was the freaking MCDLT. Stupid gimmick packaging that didn't do squat. Never ordered enough to keep them moving through the bin, so they were always getting wasted. Kinda fast food. We have a chimichurri chicken. It's a massive glob of boneless chicken in a vacuum sealed bag which is extremely fragile. You microwave it for 7-8 minutes, and then when it's done you take it out and put it onto the grill for the finishing grill marks. Always breaks. Always end up serving 3-4 shredded half grilled horrible chunks of vile chicken. Hate doing it. I work in Dunkin' Donuts and the big and toasted is my enemy. You get double the fake egg. A normal amount of bacon pretty much on the greasiest piece of bread I have ever seen in my life. I worked at a Starbucks inside of a Vons. Making the drinks is super simple, but the worst had to be a strawberry banana smoothie. Most of the time we didn't have bananas or protein powder ready. I had to run to the opposite corner of the Vons for a banana and then THR back room for protein powder. Then while opening the banana, you are not allowed to touch it. I normally fumbled around with the peel of the banana at an extra slow pace as to not touch it. It got easier after the 5th or so run across the country to the other side of Vons. So, while frappuccinos are annoying when you order 4 different types, the fricking smoothie takes like 5 minutes longer to make. Even worse, my Starbucks used frozen bananas. We would either have none pulled and you'd have to blend a banana arc, or they'd be out too long and turn into gross mush. Once we had a crew of literally 20 teenagers come in. First one turned to everyone behind him and told them that the smoothies were the best. Worst shit of my life. Ex-Sonic manager here. The blasts by far are the worst to make, and the more complicated you order it, the harder it is to make, and the more I hate you. Bonus points for having so many ingredients in it. The blender bursts a hole in the cup so I have to start completely over. It evens out because, as a grown man, I have to utter the phrase waffle berry brownie blast when I order it. McFlurries. The mixing machines are a pain in the ass and just end up making a mess. Also during the summer when people are ordering a lot of them, the ice cream machine can't keep up and basically just starts dispensing the ice cream mix in its liquid form. I used to detest people who ordered sundaes when I worked in a pizza place, because for some reason they were made by the wait bar staff, not the kitchen. So you ended up down a person for ages, because it's never one person who orders a sundae. All their friends go, what a good idea. More a fault with division of labor than the customers or the menu item, but still annoying. I work at a coffee shop, and we have an item called sea foam. It's a raw juice item and it's terrible to make. Takes about 5 minutes to make and half the time the juicer breaks down and you have to clean the juicer every time you use it. It's okay to make on a normal day, but when we're busy it's bad. Former assistant manager of Domino's, where I sold pizza and pizza accessories. The pan pizzas were horrible to make. If it was any of the specialty pizzas, deluxe was okay. Mainly the extravaganzas. Adding so many toppings onto a pizza with dough with little density was disastrous. But the worst was a customer wanting a pan extravaganza with extra of every topping. When we got the pizza out of the pan, it folded in half from being unable to support such ingredient frickery. I called the customer back and explained what happened and suggested a better option, who proceeded to tell me how I should just cook the toppings separately from the rest and then place it on, which wouldn't work as the cheese on top is supposed to act as an emulsifier. Smoothie King workers hate making the Hulk. It requires scooping several scoops of butter pecan ice cream, which never wants to scoop. Every Sunday, we put all of the ice creams in the freezer in order to clean the ice cream freezer. This means the ice creams stay in the freezer overnight. Every Monday morning, this little crap comes and orders 5 Hulks at the ass crack of dawn, right when we open, meaning the butter pecan ice cream is still frozen solid, and we have to scoop about 10 scoops. When I worked at Pizza Hut, we had an appetizer called spin rolls that were basically a tortilla with chicken, sauce, mushrooms and cheese inside it, but they always managed to burn. So you'd have to put them in the oven for half the time, then micromanage the crap out of them till they were cooked. Always set me behind on my other work, especially on weekend rushes. At Taco Bell, I hated making a 12-pack of soft shells. Hard shells were easy. You took 4 or 6 in one hand, threw meat in them, lettuce, cheese, wrapped them up. Heck, even the wrapping was easy. Soft shells come from the fridge spot, so they're cold and you have to one by one put them onto the grill to warm for a few seconds. They were usually so small you'd burn your hand a little. Then they were floppy, so you couldn't just do a sleeve of them at once. You had to do the meat, lettuce, cheese, wrap, repeat 12 times. Sometimes people would order 24 or 36 at once, all soft shell. It was awful. Every Starbucks employee in the world hates making frappuccinos. Frappuccinos take longer to make than any other menu item. This is fine. The thing is, they usually get ordered in groups. This is also fine. But people come in, and they do this, and they get impatient. That's where it gets annoying. And that it slows things down for the whole line. So people who ordered faster drinks also get impatient. The baristas are working as fast as they can. You ordered a time-consuming item. Have more patience than a 12-year-old, even though you ordered something that is probably for a 12-year-old. Whatever the seasonal item is, I used to work at Starbucks. Luckily I left before that unicorn one came out. It was rough. Still had people asking about it for months, even though it lasted 2 days or less. Currently work at Pizza Hut, and for the staff it's when we get our new limited time offer pizzas. They are in essence these ridiculous looking pizzas that only serve as a publicity stunt. Anything with bacon in Burger King. Pre-packed, pre-cooked with a disconcerting green sheen even when stored correctly and in date. Disgusting to separate the tiny bits from each other due to all the congealed grease. Then microwave just long enough for the fat to melt into the burger. There was also a combo with bacon and slimy smelly mushrooms, which was even worse. Used to work at McDonald's. I hate the McRib, not because it was a pain to make, but because I was the one who closed down the grill every night. No matter how much you clean, there will always be dry barbecue sauce that won't come out. Multiple onion rings back to back at Whataburger. There is only one fry spot specifically for onion rings and fish. If it's one medium or large onion ring, no big deal, but then sometimes you get the next person after the onion ring order gets onion rings as well, and with that you're fricked. And unlike the fries where you can mass fry them, but onion rings you cannot because they don't hold as well as fries, so you have to specifically fry them when they are ordered. And they come at different sizes as well, so you gotta balance out the small ones with large ones. The onion rings altogether are frustrating and they ain't even all that great. Everything else from Whataburger is great and worth a trip to Texas, but for onion rings there are better options in my hometown. I used to work at Sonic and the Heath. Snickers and Reese's Cup Blasts were the worst to make. The candies are usually cold and frozen together and mixed with even more solid ice cream. 95% of the time I made one, the cup would break and I'd have to start over. Ends up taking like 4 minutes to make. I once went to Chipotle and ordered a quesarito, which is a quesadilla used as a tortilla of a burrito. The girl said, "No, it's fine. I don't mind burning my hands for you." That was the last time I ordered it. Chick-fil-A's superfood side. Kale and broccolini mixed with dried cherries and nuts and a little maple vinaigrette. It's the least sold item, and when we actually need to get rid of them, no one is going to buy it. I work at Subway and the most hated thing to make is pretty much any sandwich that's supposed to be toasted like steak, teriyaki, or chicken bacon ranch, and the customer doesn't want the bread toasted. So we have to get the meat on parchment paper and warm it up in the microwave, then use our hands to put the very hot meat on the sandwich. I used to work for Starbucks and hated the secret menu drinks, especially since those customers had no idea what they wanted. They just saw it on Instagram or Facebook or some crap. Tried to explain to them that is not Starbucks recipes. You can only explain so much to dense people. Former Disney World cast member, the Sand Pail. By a motherfucking long shot. For $10.64, you get an actual sand pail, the sort of cheap bucket you'd find in Walmart, filled to the fricking brim with soft serve ice cream. One of these alone would go through about 1/6 of a carton of product. Then, you sugar nuked it with hot chocolate and caramel, Oreos, sprinkles, and whipped cream. Serves 4, or it's supposed to serve 4. But you forget, this is Murica, where we've turned diabetes into a national pastime. So you'd get groups of 5-10 college students, all ordering their own pail, and the machine wouldn't make new ice cream fast enough to make the ice cream, and the line is halfway across the park, and your B.O.V.A manager hasn't even given you your 15 minutes yet, even though you're 6 hours into a 10-hour shift, and, sorry, that kind of got away from me there. It wasn't that it was hard to make, but frozen cokes. Basically, you know, Slurpees, but in summer. Holy crap, in summer. In the mornings we'd get the 2 or 3 biggest cardboard boxes in the store and pre-assemble up to 100 frozen Coke cups, as they could be hard to put together when you were in a rush, had slippery hands. Then, once the clock ticked past 3:15, we'd be inundated with cars full of students coming from school to get their frozen Coke fix, not to mention the front counter. We only had 4 pumps for the frozen Coke, and after the first 20 or 30, the mix would need to be left to refill and refreeze. Most days we got upwards of 100 orders of frozen Coke, and then we got new flavors in, which meant we lost 2 pumps of Coke and got new flavors, and then it meant the orders became half Coke, half whatever flavor we had that week, or 1/3 Coke, 1/3 flavor 1, 1/3 flavor 2, and then we brought in the jumbo frozen Cokes, frozen spiders, and on days above 30 degrees, I still refuse to go to fast food places on hot days. The best times were when we'd have a drive-through queue of 20 plus cars and people would still join the queue and complain their frozen Coke wasn't frozen enough. Man, frick frozen Coke. Speaking on behalf of working at In-N-Out, animal style fries totally messes up your flow. Get fries, dump them in a boat, place the fries on a plastic tray you've put a piece of parchment paper on, then 2 cold slices of cheese on top of fries, nuke them in the steamer, bring it to a grill to drop some grilled onion, ferry it back to the fry table, drown it in spread, load it in a special paper box you have to build, and then put it in its own giant bag, and give it a fork. Yeah, it was a pain. Before 2010 or so there wasn't even a steamer. You had to get somebody on a grill to melt the cheese for you. All compared to just putting fries in a boat and putting that in a bag already sitting with a burger in it. There was a reason animal fries brought the cost from about $1.50 to $3.50. And that was it. Also, if you want to torture a grill cook, Order all your onions whole grilled and use their precious grill space up with slices of onions instead of meat. Chicken fingers and fries, extra crispy. You could order a burger and eat it and that crap would still be cooking. Before I worked at CFA I didn't know how many people had never heard the concept of a salad and I just became head of their salad research committee. What's in the salad? Name every ingredient. What's in the other 3 salads? Can you take X out of the salad? When do you prepare the salads? Can I get a salad made to order? How many calories are in each dressing? Is the chicken in the salad hot? Is the chicken in the salad fresh? What size are the salads? What do they look like? Show me each one. Explain Thousand Island dressing. Can I get a large salad as a side instead of a side salad for the same price? What's your favorite salad? What's the best dressing? Are the croutons real tough? Are they too soft? Meanwhile I'm trying to keep a straight face in my salad knowledge interview with Betty and Marian as the line progresses out the door. I work at Panera. Any menu item with avocado is such a pain to make. They are incredibly messy, take a long time to cut but most of all they are impossible to keep on some sandwiches. I worked at Domino's and the Brooklyn style crusts are the worst to make. For other pizzas, we take an appropriately sized dough ball and basically stretch aka slap it to the right size, but for the Brooklyn ones we take a small dough ball and stretch it out by hand into a large, basically guaranteeing that some parts are gonna be way too thin or rip. It also takes freaking forever to make one quickly, which sucks because we're expected to get completed pizzas in the oven in 1-2 minutes, so if I only have the crust after 2 minutes it slows everything else way down. Back when I used to work for Domino's I really disliked the Philly cheesesteak pizzas. It had toppings that would go on no other pizza. The steak was all thin luncheon meat type and if fresh from the freezer would be a solid meat clump that you were trying to pry apart to get the correct amount. If I remember right it even had a different sauce. Just completely threw off the line. And because it was new and different, it felt like it was every other pizza. Not exactly fast food, but at my old bagel store job, we baked everything on premise. This meant that people could see which bagels were fresh out of the oven. If you wanted to make an enemy out of any of us who worked there, you'd ask for the bagel fresh out the oven to be toasted and scooped out. Didn't matter what else was put in it. When I say these were the hottest things I've ever handled in my life I'm not kidding. We're talking bagels right from a nearly 400-degree oven going straight into a toaster. Utterly baffling. We had to handle these with our hands, paper towels, wax paper, whatever, but it never helped. The heat seared right through them. Scooping them was worse, because even if you scooped before toasting, the super hot dough stuck to you and burned intensely. To this day I have massively decreased sensitivity to hot surfaces, which is why I often inadvertently burn myself when cooking. This is a common plight among food service workers. We'd always try to dissuade customers from doing this, not only because it was physically painful, but because it massively slowed down the line, forcing us to wait for bagels to toast. But alas, it was to no avail because people were adamant about toasting scorching hot bagels. Only one customer in my years working there changed his mind about doing this because he felt bad that I'd burn my hands. I still regret not giving him his order for free. I worked at Subway when appetizers were a thing. They took like 3 times longer to make than anything else and they always disrupted the flow of a line. I work at Starbucks and I can't stand anything with matcha or the dang pink drink. First off, our matcha is 50% sugar. I am a college student in a college town. Every single day we would have endless sorority girls ordering the new health craze that was water, matcha powder, and lemonade. They'd giggle about how healthy they were. It's all sugar, no health benefits. Also, the matcha clumps together and forms disgusting balls of green goo in your drink. Then people complain they wanted extra shaken to break the clumps without understanding the matcha will clump no matter what. Also iced cappuccinos are BS, as are coconut cappuccinos. And I hate the pink drink because my store does not have a coconut milk shaker. This means I have to get out a tea shaker, scoop strawberry ake, dried strawberries, and ice and shake it. Then I have to pour it into the cup. Then I have to pour coconut milk on top, put the lid on, and swirl it around until it vaguely resembles the pink drink. People always get peed off when I tell them I'm not allowed to put it in the shaker. You've been visited by the good sleep getter. Upvote within the next 3 seconds and you will be blessed with cozy and restful sleeps. Thanks for watching. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.